Hi there, Stan the Annuity Man, America's Annuity Agent. So glad you joined me for today's topic, fixed indexed annuities, pros and cons. Telling you, anytime the market's kind of gyrating a little bit, and now that COVID has kind of lifted a little bit, you're starting to get those invitations in the mail to go to the local very nice high-end restaurant to have the steak dinner or chicken dinner or whatever you decide to order, and they hear a sales pitch on the scariness of the markets, market risk, and all this stuff. That's an indexed annuity sales pitch that you're getting ready to swallow literally and figuratively. So before you do that, I always encourage people, go to the bad chicken dinner seminar or the steak seminar, swallow the food, not the pitch. My mom in St. Augustine, Florida, who's 83 years old, is what I call a professional plate licker. She is a professional. She goes 3 to 4 times a week to these bad chicken dinner seminars. She'll call beforehand and she goes, what are you having for dessert? Because I really, me and T, that's my dad who's passed away, we really don't like specific dessert. We like banana pudding, and she'll just drive them crazy. But she'll go to these seminars, right? And she'll eat the food, and she's heard more sales pitches than I have. And then she'll call me every time and go, this gentleman, he seemed really nice. He showed me pictures of his children, and he said I could get a 25% upfront bonus for transferring my money, and I want to kill myself. Now, of course, I do not give my mom the fixed index annuities pros and cons because she won't hear me unless I include my daughters in that explanation because she doesn't hear anything unless you're talking about the grandchildren. I'm digressing a little bit, but you know what I'm talking about. You need to understand the fixed annuities pros and cons. We're going to do that without my mother's voice right after this. So, I'm back. I'm laughing because the brain's behind the camera. Just remember this. Anytime you see a person on camera like this, the brains are behind the camera. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But they love the mom voice. My mom's voice from saying, hey, me and your father. I mean, they love that. But that's kind of how she talks. But here's the best part about that story, and then we're going to go to the pros and cons of fixed index annuities. They'll call her or show up at her doorstep, and she loves doing this because she's got a little bit of an edge to her, if you can only imagine. Where did that come from? And she'll go, oh, by the way, my son is a person you might be familiar with. His name is Stan the Annuity Man. And they're like, at that point, they take her off the list. They try to take her off the list. I guess she's going to these things under her assumed name. I don't know. Fixed index annuities pros. Let's talk about the pros of fixed index annuities. They were put on the planet in 1995 as a very good, efficient solution for CD-type returns, normal CD-type returns, the ones that we're typically aware. And we're talking like 2 to 4%-ish, okay? Principal protected, that's a positive. You're never going to lose a penny. Another pro of that, of an index annuity, is that the index option strategies, and by the way, I've written a book on that. Get the book. I've done videos in detail on the index option strategies, the caps, the spreads, the participation rates, and all that stuff. Bottom line is they lock in permanently. So on contract anniversary date, if you do have a gain, it's going to lock in permanently. That's fantastic. Another pro of index annuities, you can attach an income rider at the time of application for a lifetime income stream in the future. You can set it up for yourself or joint with the spouse. In addition, another pro of index annuities would be these income riders sometimes come with what's called a confinement care or enhanced benefit to them, meaning that if you need specific in-home or nursing home care, whatever, and there's specific rules, I don't want to get in the weeds with that, those are guaranteed issue and can be attached to the income rider. So there's some great things, some great pros about indexed annuities. But here's the problem. Those are always kind of overshadowed by the cons. And the cons and the negatives are somewhat self-inflicted in the annuity industry. Most of the negatives with indexed annuities revolve around a sales pitch that's either overhyped or borderline fraudulent and misleading. Most of the time with indexed annuity sales pitches, with agents that just sell that or they're just pitching that, they're saying stuff like market upside with no downside or market participation with principal protection. That's absolute garbage. They were not put on the planet for market returns. Indexed annuities are not securities. They're life insurance products issued and approved at the state level. There's no SEC oversight. And to sell an indexed annuity, At the time of this taping, you have to pass a state life insurance exam, and I think score 70. I was just doing a podcast recently with a very smart gentleman, I think one of the smartest people in the annuity industry. His name is John Olson. And by the way, I have a podcast called Fun with Annuities that you need to check out. But his comment was he believes there needs to be separate licensure and testing to sell indexed annuities. I completely 100% agree with him. Now, the other part about the cons, the negatives, I hate to say the word cons, let's just say negatives. The negatives about indexed annuities is the sales pitch goes something like this. You get a 20, let's just, right currently at the time of this taping, there's a couple companies giving 25% upfront bonuses for signing the paperwork. Let's just stop there. Let me just explain that. There's 100 pennies in the dollar. There's no philanthropists at annuity companies. That's not free money. It's just priced in. Take this the right way or take this the wrong way, I really don't care. Index annuity upfront bonuses is candy for the stupid. If you're that stupid to believe and buy an annuity for the upfront bonus, then you deserve it. You deserve what you're getting ready to get, which is none of the promises that were promised. It's like if I went to a car dealership and I walked in and the guy goes, I want to show you this car. I'm like, yeah, great, show it to me. Look at this stereo. Look at this. It's got 17 speakers and he turns up, it's loud. I'm like, I'll take it. Take what? I'm going to take the car? I'm going to buy it. Buying an annuity for a bonus is like buying a car for the stereo system. It's stupid. But a lot of agents will talk about upfront bonuses and then they'll combine it with market upside with no downside, which is not true. They'll just keep going. And then they'll show you back-tested numbers. That's another negative. Another negative that drives me crazy is agents and advisors will say, well, if you'd have owned this specific index annuity in the last 10 years, you'd have gotten this. That's garbage. And in some states, it's illegal to even do that. It should be illegal in all states because things were different when those annuities were priced. And even better, some of the indexes that are being sold now weren't even around 10 years ago, even though they're saying, well, if you'd owned it 10 years ago, wait a minute, the index has only been around 6 months. How could that be? So there's a lot of bait and switch. There's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of 30,000-foot view sales pitches without getting into the weeds with indexed annuities. Notice that I'm really not talking, the product, which is the pros of indexed annuities, they're good. The negatives of indexed annuities pretty much revolve around the sales pitches and the lack of explanation by the advisor or the agent. As I always tell people, if you cannot explain the product you're buying to a 9-year-old, then don't buy it. No offense to 9-year-olds. You should be able to explain it. I got a call the other day. Gentleman put $500,000 in an indexed annuity. And I'm not going to go into the company. It doesn't matter. Okay, they're all designed to pretty much produce the same rate of return. I said, can you explain the indexed annuity to me? Can you explain how the call-in options work? Can you explain how they change the rules every year? Can you explain the income rider fee? Can you explain any of that? He could not. He put $500,000 into something he could not explain. You can't do that. And if you're talking to me and we're talking about indexed annuities and I don't feel like you fully understand it, I'm not going to allow you to sign the paperwork. Don't believe me? Try me. Indexed annuities are good products. They're not too good to be true, but they're pretty darn good if you fully understand them and how they work. But that's kind of where the rubber meets the road. So the pros are, again, the positives of indexed annuities are good. Principal protection, locked-in gains. You can attach income riders for pension needs. And some of those income riders come with a built-in guaranteed confinement care enhanced benefits. Hey, that's fantastic, right? Principal protection in a crazy world. But the negatives revolve around the sales pitches. And the problem with that, indexed annuity people know they can sell you on fear and they can sell you on greed. They can either scare you into it or they can greed you into it. Just don't be that person. You're smarter than that. Don't fall for that. Okay, I'm getting ready to step on a soapbox. I'm 6'6", so I really don't need one, so I'm just gonna kind of do that. Here's my soapbox plea to the annuity industry. Because agents, most of them mean well, they just don't understand what they're selling, and they haven't done the research to understand what they're selling. And me and John Olson on the podcast were talking about that most agents have never They just don't understand what they're selling. They're selling the 30,000-foot view. But let's put the agents and advisors aside for a while. I'm speaking to the annuity industry. That's who I'm pointing at right now. All you carriers, the NAIC, everybody. Here's my plea. Stan the Annuity Man, America's annuity agent. Thought leader out here. Nod your head, annuity industry. I'm on your side, and I am making this easier for you. But I need you to make it easier on the consumer. I need you to force the carriers to create index annuities that are simplistic, that are easy to understand, okay? That when the person gets the policy in the mail, they can read it and understand it. Strip all the crap down, strip all the whistles and bells out of that. Make the indexed annuity story a simple one, an easy one that everyone can understand. Please do that. I mean, you're talking about a no-brainer from an industry standpoint, a no-brainer from a sales standpoint, a no-brainer from a marketing standpoint is to make things simple. Now, as we all know, Steve Jobs, the former CEO and head of Apple, who's passed away, he said something that applies to the annuity industry. Simple is complex. It's very complex to make things simple. I can tell you that for what we do at theannuityman.com. We're always trying to make everything simple. What I write simple, what I say on video simple, the podcasts are simple, the calculators are simple. We're trying to make it simple so people can make a good decision. But indexed annuity carriers out there, I know you're watching. Indexed annuity industry out there, I know you're watching. Let's, as an industry, make these products simple. Okay? Because if you don't, it's going to come back to bite the industry. I don't know I'm not saying from a litigious standpoint, but from a sales standpoint and a goodwill standpoint and a pro-customer standpoint. The fixed index annuity story is a good story. It's a principal protection story. It's a better than CD type return story. It's a lifetime income guarantee with a pension story. It's a good story. And it's a story that fits in a lot of people's world with 10,000 baby boomers hitting age 65 every single day. Here's the thing. Let's make that story simple and easy to understand. It sounds simple, but for whatever reason, it's not. Hey, I'm glad you watched this. Touch base with me if you want to talk about index annuities. Schedule a call at my site, theannuityman.com. Hey, hit the subscribe button below me. I think it's below me. It's below me. And I'll see you on the next Stay on the Annuity Man YouTube video.